What if a young man was told his body would stop working within just 2 years, but he went on to live for more than 50 years longer, and unlock secrets about the universe that no one before him had ever understood? A long time ago, in England, a baby boy was born who loved staring up at the night sky. As he grew older, he and his family would lie in the backyard on summer nights, gazing at the stars for hours, wondering what was really out there. At school, he was not always the top student, and even ranked somewhere in the middle of his class. His handwriting was messy, and some of his work was disorganized. But his mind worked in an extraordinary way, and his teachers could tell he saw the world differently than everyone else. As a teenager, he even built a simple computer with a few friends, made from old clock parts and telephone switchboard pieces, just to see if it could be done. He loved asking enormous questions, questions about time, about space, about how the entire universe had even begun. He grew up and went to a famous university, where he studied physics. He was clever, a little mischievous, and full of energy. His plan was to spend his life studying the very beginning of the universe, and to try answering some of the biggest questions anyone had ever asked. Then, when he was only 21 years old, something frightening happened. His body slowly started to stop listening to him. His arms and legs grew weak, his movements grew clumsy, and doctors gave him difficult news. He had a rare condition that would keep taking away his strength, bit by bit, and they believed he only had about 2 more years left to live. For a while, he felt lost and unsure. What was the point of dreaming up big ideas about the universe, he wondered, if he barely had any time left at all? But slowly, something inside him changed. He decided that however much time he had, he would spend it thinking, learning, and working as hard as he possibly could. Around this same time, he fell in love and got married, choosing to build a full, happy life for himself instead of giving up on his dreams. Little by little, his body grew weaker. He needed a wheelchair to move around. Years later, after a serious illness, he lost his voice completely, and could no longer speak with his own mouth at all. It could have been the end of his work. Instead, scientists built him a special computer, one that let him choose words with the tiny movement of a single muscle, and speak them out loud in a new, robotic voice. Even years later, when newer, more natural-sounding voices became available, he chose to keep that very same voice, because by then, it felt like a true part of who he was. Using that voice, he kept teaching, kept exploring, and kept sharing his ideas with the entire world. He studied enormous, mysterious objects in space so powerful that not even light could escape them. Then he made an astonishing discovery: these objects were not completely silent after all. They were slowly leaking out tiny bits of energy, a discovery that stunned scientists everywhere and would later be named after him. He wanted regular people, not just scientists, to understand the wonders of the universe too. So he wrote a book, explaining the biggest mysteries of space and time in words anyone could follow. The book became an enormous bestseller, eventually translated into more than 35 languages, and read by millions of people in countries all over the world, including many he had never even visited. Even while sitting in his wheelchair, unable to move or speak on his own, he traveled the globe giving lectures, met with famous leaders, and once even floated freely in the air aboard a special airplane, experiencing true weightlessness for the very first time in his life, with a smile spread wide across his face. Wherever he went, crowds gathered eagerly just to hear his computerized voice share a single new idea. For more than 50 years past what doctors had once predicted, he kept working, kept discovering, kept laughing, and kept proving that a mind can soar freely, even when a body cannot. This young man, who was once told he had only 2 years left to live, grew up to become Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant scientists the world has ever known. He was honored as a Fellow of the Royal Society, one of science's greatest honors, and even received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. His discovery about those mysterious objects in space became known as Hawking radiation, one of the most famous ideas in modern physics. He was doubted by his own body every single day, yet he explored the universe more boldly than almost anyone in history. So the next time life feels impossibly hard, remember Stephen Hawking, and remember that your mind can still travel to the stars, even on your hardest days. For more such interesting videos, please like, share, and subscribe to Zen Magma Wisdom Nest YouTube channel.